Have you ever been listening to a song and you are like, this sounds amazing, it's giving you all the feels and the tinglies, starting to make you cry maybe, or starting to get you amped up, and you're like, how do I make that happen? How do I make my listeners feel those things? One major thing I believe is through automation. My name is Vern. I am a singer-songwriter and music producer. And today I'm going to walk you through how I use automation in my music in order to get those little magical moments and create that emotion. This is just a project I've been working on. As you can see, I just have a couple tracks. I'll play it for you so you can see what we're starting with, and then I'll get into the automation portion and how we can amp up certain areas. So that's kind of the baseline of where we're starting. How you get to the automation portion of Ableton Live is you're in arrangement view and you just click on this little button here. It kind of looks like two little arrows. If you click there, each track will now have options in order to choose an effect and then choose what you're changing within the effect. You will also notice these little red lines here on each track. This is the level of automation that you're creating, or the level of the effect that you're creating. My objective is to have this portion leading into the chorus portion feel like it's going into the abyss, like it's slowly just dissipating and disappearing, and then all of a sudden it comes back with the beat. So this part here, it's just sort of like... So I want to increase the reverb, increase the decay on everything, and have it just sort of float out into space and then come right back into that beat full throttle. In order to do that, if you come over here, you click on the little arrow, you can choose what effect you're working with. Say you have some plugins on this track. Little plate is actually down here. We added little plate onto this track earlier, and now we're just gonna play around with when it does certain things. Within that plugin, you can change the mix itself, which is how much of that plugin, or in this case, the reverb, how much of the reverb is happening. So if you turn the mix all the way up, the reverb is going to be, or the effect itself is going to be all the way 100%. The decay for reverb, that's, if you don't know, that is how much of a tail it has. How long does it go for at the end? That's the decay amount. We'll mostly be working with the mix and the decay on this reverb. What you'll notice is the red line. You can adjust this red line up and down. You can just move the whole thing. That is going to increase that decay 100% on the whole thing. So if you listen now, let's solo this track. It just has a lot of, it's still going, has a lot of decay forever and ever and ever. If you just bring that whole red line up or down, it's going to bring the entire track up or down. What you can do, click anywhere on the line, a little dot will appear. Add a little dot at the beginning of where I'm changing things and add a little dot at the end of where I'm changing things. I have my starting and my ending points. I add another dot in here and move this up and down. It's anchoring that to where we were, and then I can use this dot to drag up to where I want the mix to be. The decay will go from a 5 and gradually increase to a 35 and then come right back down to 5 when the beat comes in. So you can mess around with that. You can add as many dots as you like. Add another dot here and have it be less gradual and then shoot right up quickly at the end there. For all intents and purposes, I'm just gonna do that. The decay is set. I'm gonna do the same down here. Boop. I anchor the beginning and end of where I want to change things, and then I add another dot here and I move that up. So now you'll notice I chose where things are going to increase. that decay increases slowly here and then drops right back down once the beat comes in. I'm also going to do that to the mix. So I'm still in little played. I'm gonna click on what part of little played I want to work on, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna have a little dot at the end, little dot at the beginning of where I want it to move, and then I'm going to add a dot here and bring that mix up. It's even more dramatic. So I'm making the decay really long and the whole mix of the reverb really long. That really adds musicality elements to it and intensity and makes it kind of go off into this spatial netherworld that I like. I'm going to do the same for this other vocal chop that I had. Then we're going to listen to the whole thing and see the effect it sort of gave to it. Again, I did my reverb. I adjusted the mix and the decay, and same with this one, mix and decay, and I automated it to only increase at a certain point. And we're going to hear what that sounds like with the whole thing. I just love how it gradually gets fuller and fuller and spacier, and then right away when the beat comes in, it's just tightens up. It brings you kind of back into reality. I feel like a painter when I'm automating things. You really can just explore. Say you don't have a plugin on your track, you can always go to this little button up here and then go down to the mixer, because you will be able to change things like the panning, like I said earlier, the volume. Maybe one track is loud in the verses, but you want to bring it down in the chorus because there are more elements that you are trying to mix within. You can do track volume, put a little dot at the beginning and end of the section, and then a little further in, bring this down to bring it directly under that and just make sure they're at the same level here. Then that whole section here is going to be at a lower volume. Whereas here it was louder. You can play around with that aspect of it just as far as your mix goes and where everything is sitting. And then you can also play with the track panning. I have Pan Man on both of these, which means that I've already set it to kind of fluctuate back and forth from left to right. If I go to Mixer and I go to Pan Man, I can turn the device on or off. Go to Device on. This is showing me that the device or the plugin is on throughout the entire song. But if I want it to turn off at any point or any section, I can create those little anchor dots and then pull it down so that Pan Man turns off during this portion. If that's off, you can then go to the mixer and play around with the track panning itself. When it says C, that means it's in the center. Then if you pull it up, it's gonna go to the right, and if you pull it down, it's gonna go to the left. Set your little anchor points. That one didn't go. You want it to really just pan up to the right, you can do that, and then you'll hear it pan to the right. Automation is very, very cool that way. I'm actually gonna do the opposite to this one and make it go all the way to the left so that we kind of have like a situation. As you can see, it started off just some echo, some reverb, very stagnant. There's movement and it's great and fun, but in order to lead into that next portion, I wanted to add that drama, and this just allows you to add that drama and intensity into a next portion of the song so that it can just really hit the way you want it to hit. So that's a very easy way to add something more to your track and make it have movement and emotion and not be so static. Being a painter, it's exploring the sounds and how they move and adds the extra little magic that maybe your track is missing. If you have anything else you want to learn or see, please feel free to put them in the comments. Also, if you want to subscribe, please do so. It'll help me out a lot, and I'll see you on the next one.